What Can the Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, a book written decades ago, teach us about navigating our complex reality? Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist is more than a story about a young shepherd named Santiago searching for treasure. It's a meditation on the human condition, on the pursuit of one's personal legend, and on the universal struggle to find meaning in life. Santiago's journey teaches us about listening to our hearts, overcoming fear, and staying true to our dreams, despite the obstacles and distractions we face along the way. But if The Alchemist was relevant in the late 20th century, its message has become even more pressing in today's world. The distractions are louder, the pressure to conform, to follow paths set by others, and to seek approval from the outside world has grown exponentially. The digital age has added layers of complexity to the search for one's own path, making it more challenging to hear our inner voice. Today, the lessons of The Alchemist can help us rediscover what truly matters. They remind us that despite the noise, we must stay connected to our personal truth. Throughout this video, we'll explore how the teachings from The Alchemist can be applied to our lives, how they can guide us through the complexities of modern society, help us combat our fears, and inspire us to follow our true purpose, no matter how overwhelming the world may feel. So, let's dive into Santiago's story and the timeless lessons it holds. We'll see how his journey mirrors the challenges we face presently, and how we can use Coelho's wisdom to find clarity in an increasingly noisy world. Chapter 1. The Noise of Social Media and Staying True to Your Own Dreams. Are you following your dreams or the dreams others have created for you? In The Alchemist, we meet Santiago, a shepherd living a simple, content life, traveling with his sheep across the Andalusian countryside. He seems satisfied with his life until a recurring dream unsettles him, a dream of a hidden treasure buried near the Egyptian pyramids. This dream awakens a deep desire in him, a realization that there is something more he needs to pursue. From the moment Santiago decides to follow this dream, his journey becomes a metaphor for the pursuit of one's personal legend. In today's world, this idea of following one's personal dream has become more complicated. We live in a society that constantly bombards us with images of what success is supposed to look like. On platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, influencers and celebrities showcase their achievements, their perfect lives, and their material success. It's easy to get caught up in this constant comparison, and without realizing it, we start chasing dreams that aren't even ours. Santiago's journey reminds us of the importance of listening to our inner voice. In the book, he learns early on from Melchizedek, the mysterious king of Salem, that everyone has a personal legend, a destiny that is uniquely theirs. But too often people abandon their own dreams because of fear, because they are too focused on the opinions of others, or because they are distracted by the world around them. Today, we face a similar challenge, but the distractions are much louder. Social media has created a world where we are constantly measuring ourselves against the lives of others. Instead of listening to our hearts, we are often influenced by what society tells us we should want: fame, money, status. Santiago, too, is tempted to give up his journey many times, especially when the obstacles become overwhelming. But each time, he returns to his heart and refocuses on his true purpose. Today, this lesson is more relevant than ever. It's easy to lose sight of our true dreams when the world is shouting at us to conform. We see the lives of others on social media and feel pressured to follow paths that are not our own. But Coelho's message is clear. Success isn't about following the crowd. It's about following your own path, no matter how difficult or unconventional it may seem. Santiago's journey teaches us that the treasure we seek is not in the approval of others, but in staying true to our deepest desires. One of the most powerful lessons from The Alchemist comes early in the story when Santiago sells his sheep, leaving behind the only life he has ever known. It's a bold decision, one that many around him would have considered foolish. But Santiago understands that to follow his dream, he must be willing to let go of the familiar. This decision symbolizes a leap of faith, something that many of us are afraid to take in our own lives today. Think about the pressure we face today to maintain appearances, to stick to what is safe. Whether it's a stable career, societal expectations, or the fear of judgment, we often cling to the familiar, even when it no longer fulfills us. But Santiago teaches us that in order to grow, we must be willing to take risks, to step into the unknown, and to trust that the universe will guide us. In modern terms, this might mean shutting off social media, tuning out the noise of others' lives, and focusing on what truly brings us joy. When Santiago begins his journey, he doesn't have all the answers. He doesn't know exactly how or when he will find the treasure, but he knows that the journey itself is essential. In our world, we often want immediate gratification. We want to see results quickly, and when we don't, we become discouraged. Social media has amplified this mindset, showing us instant success stories that make the slow, often difficult process of following our dreams seem frustrating. But the Alchemist teaches us that the journey is just as important as the destination. The lessons learned, the growth experienced, and the wisdom gained along the way are the true treasures. So how do we apply this lesson? First, we must be willing to step away from the noise of social media and ask ourselves, what do I truly want? Not what others want for us, not what looks good on the surface, but what will bring us the deepest sense of fulfillment. Once we identify that, we must commit to the journey, even if it's hard, even if it's slow, even if the world tells us to give up. In The Alchemist, Santiago is told again and again to trust in the process, to follow the omens, and to listen to his heart. In today's fast-paced world, this might translate to trusting our own intuition, tuning out the external pressures and focusing on the things that truly matter. Coelho reminds us that success is not about reaching a specific point quickly, it's about growing and evolving along the way. Santiago's journey reminds us that staying true to our dreams, no matter the distractions, is the key to living a fulfilling life. Chapter 2: Fear of Judgment and Failure. Are you afraid of failing, or are you afraid of being judged? One of the central themes in The Alchemist is overcoming fear, particularly the fear of failure. Santiago faces this fear numerous times throughout his journey. From the moment he decides to sell his sheep, he is stepping into uncertainty. What if he never finds the treasure? What if he loses everything along the way? These questions reflect a deeper anxiety, one that we all face: the fear of making mistakes or falling short of expectations. In today's world, this fear has become even more pronounced. Social media and the digital age have amplified our fear of failure because everything we do can be seen, judged, and commented on by others. We are constantly aware of how others perceive us, and this can paralyze us from taking risks. Whether it's pursuing a career change, launching a new project, or even expressing our true selves, the fear of being judged often stops us in our tracks. In The Alchemist, Coelho describes this as one of the greatest obstacles to achieving our personal legend. The fear that we will suffer along the way, or worse, that we will be ridiculed for even trying. Santiago's journey is full of moments where he must push past this fear. Early in the story, after being robbed in Tangier, Santiago could have easily given up. He is alone in a foreign land with no money and no way to continue his journey. The temptation to return to his old life is strong. He could go back to Spain, return to his sheep, and no one would ever know that he had failed. But instead of succumbing to the fear of failure, Santiago chooses to persevere. He takes a job with a crystal merchant and slowly rebuilds his resources. Through this experience, he learns that failure is not the end of the journey, it is simply a part of it. This is an essential lesson for us today, where the fear of failure often feels overwhelming. In an age where we see the successes of others magnified on social media, it can seem like everyone else is thriving while we are stuck in our struggles. But Santiago teaches us that failure is not a reason to quit, it is a reason to learn and grow. Each setback is a stepping stone on the path to success. Today, we need to embrace the idea that mistakes are part of the process, not something to be ashamed of. Moreover, the Alchemist teaches us that the fear of judgment, what others might think if we fail, is often worse than the fear of failure itself. Santiago encounters many people who doubt his journey. Even the crystal merchant who helps him for a time doesn't truly believe that Santiago will ever find the treasure. But Santiago learns to trust his own heart, regardless of what others say. This is a lesson that we must take to heart in today's world, where judgment is ever present. Think about the pressure that exists today to present a perfect life. We curate our social media profiles to show only our best moments, our achievements, our successes. The fear of showing vulnerability or admitting failure has led many of us to hide our true selves. But Coelho's story reminds us that true courage comes from embracing the journey, flaws and all. Santiago doesn't hide his struggles, he acknowledges them and keeps moving forward. Today, we need to learn to do the same. Another key moment in Santiago's journey occurs when he meets the Englishman, who is also searching for the secrets of alchemy. The Englishman is obsessed with studying books and theories, but he lacks the practical experience of pursuing his dreams. Santiago, in contrast, learns through action. This contrast highlights a critical point. While knowledge and preparation are important, there is no substitute for taking risks and embracing the uncertainty of the journey. We can prepare all we want, but if we are too afraid to act, we will never move forward. In today's world, where perfectionism and the fear of judgment hold so many of us back, this is a crucial lesson. We can spend years studying, planning, and waiting for the perfect moment to pursue our dreams. But as Santiago learns, the perfect moment never comes. We must act despite the fear, despite the judgment, despite the uncertainty. Coelho teaches us that life is about taking the leap, not waiting for everything to fall into place. So how do we apply this today? First, we must confront the fear of failure head-on. This means recognizing that setbacks are inevitable and that they do not define us. In The Alchemist, Santiago's greatest moments of growth come after his biggest failures. When he loses everything in Tangier, he learns resilience. When he faces the daunting task of crossing the desert, he learns patience and perseverance. Each challenge brings him closer to his goal, not further away from it. Second, we must let go of the fear of judgment. In an age where everyone's lives are on display, it can be hard not to worry about what others think. But Coelho's message is clear. We cannot let the opinions of others dictate our path. Santiago's journey teaches us that the only voice we need to listen to is our own. The world may doubt us, it may judge us, but none of that matters if we stay true to our personal legend. Ultimately, the Alchemist shows us that the greatest failure is not in trying and falling short, but in never trying at all. Today, this message is more important than ever. We live in a world that glorifies success and hides failure, but Santiago reminds us that true success comes from embracing both. It is through our failures that we learn, grow, and ultimately succeed. Chapter 3. Listening to your heart in a world of distractions. How do you follow your heart when the world is constantly pulling you in different directions? In The Alchemist, one of the key lessons Santiago learns is to listen to his heart. It's not an easy lesson, and throughout the story, Santiago struggles to understand what his heart is telling him. At various points in his journey, especially when he faces challenges or obstacles, Santiago doubts whether following his heart is the right thing to do. But each time, he finds that the deeper he listens, the more the world seems to align with his path. This lesson resonates even more powerfully in today's world. We are surrounded by distractions. Our phones constantly buzz with notifications, social media feeds are designed to pull us into endless scrolling, and the demands of modern life often leave us too exhausted to reflect on what we truly want. Listening to our hearts can feel almost impossible when the noise of the world is so loud. In The Alchemist, Coelho writes, "You will never be able to escape from your heart, so it's better to listen to what it has to say." Santiago's journey is a reminder that the answers we seek are not external, they come from within. But in a world that values external validation, it's easy to lose touch with our inner voice. We are trained to seek approval from others, to measure our success by likes and followers, and to prioritize the opinions of society over our own intuition. One of the most significant moments in Santiago's journey happens when he meets the alchemist in the desert. The alchemist teaches him that the universe will conspire to help him achieve his personal legend, but only if he remains true to his heart. This concept, known as the soul of the world, is central to the story. It suggests that there is a greater force at work, one that helps guide us when we are aligned with our true purpose. In today's fast-paced, hyper-connected world, it's easy to lose faith in this idea. We're often so focused on immediate results and external success that we forget to listen to the quiet voice within. The pressures of work, family, and society can pull us in multiple directions, making it harder to stay connected to our deeper desires. Santiago's journey teaches us that when we listen to our hearts, even when it's difficult, we are guided in the right direction. Today, listening to your heart often means stepping back from the noise. It means carving out time for reflection, for stillness, for moments of solitude where we can reconnect with ourselves. The world is full of distractions, our phones, our jobs, the expectations placed on us by others. But if we don't take the time to quiet these distractions, we risk losing sight of what truly matters. One of the modern parallels to Santiago's struggle is the constant barrage of opinions and advice we receive from social media. It's easy to be swayed by what others are doing or by the latest trends. We see influencers living a certain lifestyle, and we start to believe that's what we should aspire to. But Santiago's story reminds us that no one else can walk our path for us. The treasure we seek is unique to our own journey, and only by listening to our heart can we find it. A key moment in The Alchemist is when Santiago begins to hear and understand the language of the desert and the wind. This symbolic understanding reflects Santiago's growing ability to listen to the soul of the world, which communicates through signs and omens. In modern terms, this might translate to paying attention to the subtle cues in our own lives, the things that resonate with us deeply, the moments that give us a sense of purpose, the experiences that leave us feeling fulfilled. These are the modern omens that guide us toward our personal legend. But just as Santiago learns, this process requires patience. In the book, Santiago spends weeks learning from the desert, the wind, and the alchemist. He doesn't rush the process, and he doesn't force answers. He listens deeply and waits for clarity to come. In today's world, where everything moves so quickly, we often feel pressured to have all the answers right away. But the alchemist teaches us that some answers can only be found in stillness and reflection. Another modern challenge is that our hearts are often drowned out by the constant input of information. In The Alchemist, Santiago learns to quiet his mind in order to hear what his heart is telling him. This practice of mindfulness is essential today. where our attention is pulled in a million different directions. We are bombarded with content, with news, with endless distractions, making it difficult to connect with ourselves. In Coelho's story, the heart is not always easy to understand. Santiago's heart is sometimes fearful, sometimes doubtful. But the alchemist teaches him that this is normal. Our hearts will sometimes resist the journey because they are afraid of suffering or failure. But the only way forward is to trust in the process, even when it feels uncertain. In today's world, where there is so much pressure to conform and so much fear of failure, this lesson is incredibly important. We are taught to suppress our doubts, to ignore our fears, and to push forward without questioning. But the alchemist reminds us that listening to our hearts means accepting the full range of emotions: fear, doubt, joy, and hope. It's about embracing the uncertainty of the journey and trusting that, no matter how difficult things may seem, we are on the right path if we are true to ourselves. So how can we apply this today? First, we must recognize the importance of quieting the noise. This might mean setting boundaries with social media, taking breaks from the constant flow of information, and creating space for reflection. It means allowing ourselves the time and stillness to reconnect with our own desires and values. In The Alchemist, Santiago's journey is deeply personal, and the same is true for each of us. No one else can tell us what our heart is saying. We must listen for ourselves. Second, we must learn to trust the process. Santiago's journey is filled with moments of doubt, but he keeps moving forward, trusting that each step is bringing him closer to his treasure. In today's world, where we are often obsessed with immediate results, this is a powerful reminder that some things take time. Our dreams may not unfold according to a specific timeline, but that doesn't mean they aren't worth pursuing. Finally, we must embrace the full range of emotions that come with following our hearts. In The Alchemist, Santiago's heart is both his guide and his source of fear. But the alchemist teaches him that even fear is a sign that he is on the right path. We need to remember that it's okay to feel uncertain, it's okay to have doubts, and it's okay to question ourselves. What matters is that we continue to listen, to trust, and to move forward, no matter how difficult the journey may be. Chapter 4. Keeping faith in a complex world. Do you still believe in your dreams when the journey gets difficult? One of the most profound themes in The Alchemist is the importance of keeping faith, especially when the journey becomes difficult. Santiago's adventure is not a straight path. He faces countless obstacles, setbacks, and moments of doubt. Yet, throughout the book, he's reminded again and again of the importance of perseverance and belief in his personal legend. This lesson, which was powerful when Coelho wrote it, feels even more relevant today, when the complexity of modern life can make it harder than ever to hold on to our dreams. In the book, Santiago's journey is filled with trials. He is robbed, forced to work for months to regain his lost wealth, and must cross a dangerous desert to continue his search for the treasure. At several points, he questions whether the treasure is real or whether he should give up and return to his old life as a shepherd. Yet each time he faces these challenges, he encounters people who help guide him back to his path: the crystal merchant, the Englishman, and ultimately, the alchemist. Santiago's persistence in the face of adversity is a central lesson in The Alchemist. Coelho emphasizes that when we are pursuing our personal legend, we will face obstacles that test our faith. These tests are not meant to deter us, but to help us grow. In one of the most famous lines from the book, Coelho writes, "When you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it." This message is comforting, but it doesn't mean the journey will be easy. Santiago learns that the universe may help us, but we must also help ourselves by continuing to move forward, even when things are difficult. In today's world, this lesson feels more important than ever. Life today is full of complexity and uncertainty. We are dealing with economic instability, political unrest, environmental crises, and the pressures of modern technology. On top of that, we face personal challenges, balancing work, relationships, mental health, and our own dreams. It's easy to lose faith when the world feels overwhelming, when it seems like our efforts aren't producing the results we hoped for, or when we are met with repeated failures. One of the modern parallels to Santiago's journey is the feeling of burnout that many people experience today. We live in a world where we are constantly told to hustle and work hard to achieve our goals. But often, this constant effort without immediate reward leads to exhaustion, making us question whether the dream is even worth pursuing. Santiago, too, experiences this when he is robbed in Tangier and has to work for months in a crystal shop just to make enough money to continue his journey. At this low point, Santiago is tempted to give up. He considers abandoning his quest and returning to his old life as a shepherd. But instead he learns an important lesson, that even setbacks are part of the journey. In The Alchemist, the crystal merchant represents a different path Santiago could take, the path of comfort and security. The merchant is content with his modest shop, even though he once dreamed of visiting Mecca. He has settled for a life that is stable but unfulfilled. This is a critical moment in the book because it shows Santiago what might happen if he gives up on his dream. He could live a safe and predictable life, but it would be one without true purpose or meaning. The Crystal Merchant's story is a cautionary tale, warning Santiago and us not to settle for less than our dreams. Today, many of us face this same choice. We can settle for what is safe and predictable, or we can keep pursuing our dreams, even when the road gets tough. The Crystal Merchant's story is a reminder that while comfort may feel easier in the short term, it often leads to regret in the long run. Santiago's decision to leave the crystal shop and continue his journey, despite the risks, teaches us that true fulfillment comes from following our hearts, even when it's difficult. Another powerful moment in The Alchemist occurs when Santiago reaches the oasis in the desert and falls in love with Fatima. At this point, he is tempted to stay at the oasis and live a peaceful life with her, but the alchemist reminds him that he cannot abandon his personal legend, even for love. This is a difficult lesson for Santiago to learn, but it underscores one of the book's most important messages, that true love will never stand in the way of your dreams. Fatima, understanding this, encourages Santiago to continue his journey, knowing that he must fulfill his destiny before they can be together. In today's world, this can be a metaphor for the sacrifices we sometimes have to make to pursue our dreams. We may have to leave behind relationships, comfort, or security in order to stay true to our path. Santiago's relationship with Fatima teaches us that love should not be a distraction from our dreams. It should support them. This is an important lesson for those of us who feel pulled in different directions by the demands of life. We must learn to prioritize our dreams, even when it feels like we are giving up something valuable in the process. The final test of Santiago's faith comes when he reaches the pyramids, only to discover that the treasure he was seeking is not there. Instead, he learns that the treasure was buried back in Spain, near the tree where he first had his dream. This revelation could have been devastating, but instead, Santiago realizes that the journey itself was the real treasure. The lessons he learned, the people he met, and the wisdom he gained were far more valuable than any material wealth. Today, this is a lesson we desperately need. We live in a society that often measures success in terms of material gain, money, status, possessions. But the alchemist reminds us that the true value of our journey lies in the experiences and growth we gain along the way. Santiago's story teaches us that the end goal is not always what we think it will be, but that doesn't mean the journey wasn't worth it. So, how do we apply this lesson today? First, we must learn to keep faith, even when the journey is difficult. Life will throw obstacles in our way, setbacks, failures, disappointments, but these are all part of the process. Santiago teaches us that faith is not about having all the answers. It's about continuing to move forward, even when the path is unclear. Second, we must recognize that comfort and security, while tempting, are not the same as fulfillment. The crystal merchant represents the life of settling, of giving up on dreams for the sake of stability. Santiago shows us that while the road to our personal legend is difficult, it is the only path to true satisfaction. Finally, we must remember that the treasure we seek may not be what we expect. Santiago's journey teaches us that the real treasure is often found in the lessons we learn and the person we become along the way. In a world that values quick success and material wealth, the Alchemist reminds us that the journey itself is the greatest reward. Chapter 5. The influence of others and the courage to choose your own path. Are you living the life others expect of you, or are you creating your own story? One of the most subtle but powerful themes in The Alchemist is the influence of others and the pressure to conform. Throughout his journey, Santiago encounters people who, either directly or indirectly, push him to question his own path. Whether it's the discouragement of the crystal merchant, the skepticism of the Englishman, or the allure of comfort at the oasis, Santiago is constantly faced with choices that test his commitment to his personal legend. In every instance, he must decide whether to follow the expectations of others or stay true to his own dreams. This theme has a clear parallel in today's world, where we are constantly bombarded by the opinions and expectations of those around us. Social media amplifies this pressure. We see others living lives that seem perfect, successful, or ideal, and we begin to question whether we're on the right path. The expectations of family, society, and even friends can weigh heavily on us, making it difficult to follow our own intuition. Santiago's journey in The Alchemist reminds us that while others may have opinions, only we can determine what is right for us. One of the earliest moments in the book where Santiago faces external influence comes when he is about to leave for his journey. The old man, Melchizedek, tells him the story of the baker who had once dreamed of traveling, but instead chose the safety of his job and became comfortable in his routine. The baker never pursued his personal legend, not because he lacked the desire, but because he allowed the expectations of others and the lure of security to keep him from doing so. This story is a warning to Santiago and to all of us. The danger of choosing a path not because it's what we truly want, but because it's what others expect from us or what seems safest. Today, the baker's story could easily be the story of anyone who has ever settled for less out of fear of disappointing others or because of societal pressures. More than ever, we are taught to follow a certain script, get a stable job, earn a certain amount of money, build a life that fits neatly within the expectations set by society. But Santiago's story reminds us that these expectations, while comforting, often lead to unfulfilled lives. The baker may have security, but he lacks the joy and fulfillment that comes from following his heart. A major turning point in The Alchemist is when Santiago has earned enough money to continue his journey after working at the crystal shop. At this moment, Santiago faces a choice. He could use the money to return home and live a comfortable life, or he could risk it all and continue his quest for the treasure. The crystal merchant, who has become somewhat of a mentor to Santiago, advises him to stay and continue working at the shop. The merchant himself has given up on his dream of traveling to Mecca, and he tries to influence Santiago to do the same. But Santiago realizes that if he stays, he will be living someone else's life, not his own. This moment in the story is crucial because it reflects the tension many of us face today. The pressure to conform to the expectations of others can be overwhelming. Family members may encourage us to pursue a safe career. Friends may subtly influence us to follow a similar lifestyle, and society as a whole tends to reward those who follow a conventional path. But as Santiago's journey shows, true fulfillment can only come when we have the courage to break away from these expectations and pursue what is truly ours. In modern terms, this might mean resisting the urge to compare ourselves to others on social media, or to follow a path just because it's what everyone else is doing. Santiago's decision to leave the comfort of the crystal shop and continue his quest for the treasure is a powerful reminder that our lives are ours to shape, and that we must have the courage to follow our own unique path, even if it means going against the grain. Another important relationship that tests Santiago's commitment to his personal legend is his love for Fatima. When Santiago meets Fatima at the oasis, he is tempted to stay and build a life with her. The oasis represents safety, love, and stability, all the things that many of us seek in our lives. But Santiago understands that while his love for Fatima is real, it cannot replace his personal legend. The Alchemist helps Santiago see that true love will never stop him from achieving his dreams. Rather, it will support him in pursuing them. Today, this lesson is particularly relevant in the context of relationships. We often feel pressure to prioritize relationships or settle into a certain life pattern because it seems like the right thing to do, or because it's expected of us. Santiago's journey reminds us that love should never be a reason to abandon our dreams. Instead, it should empower us to pursue them with even more conviction. Fatima understands this, and she encourages Santiago to continue his journey, knowing that their love will be stronger once he fulfills his personal legend. One of the most profound aspects of The Alchemist is its emphasis on personal responsibility. Santiago must take ownership of his journey, his decisions, and his life. He cannot blame others for the choices he makes, and he cannot allow others to dictate his path. This is a lesson we can all apply today as we navigate a world filled with opinions, judgments, and pressures from every direction. Ultimately, Santiago's story teaches us that no one else can live our lives for us. We are the authors of our own story, and it's up to us to write it the way we want. In The Alchemist, the concept of a personal legend is deeply connected to the idea of destiny, but it is also a reminder that destiny is not something that just happens to us. It's something we must actively pursue. Santiago's journey is one of constant choice. At every step, he must decide whether to listen to his heart or to the voices of others. He must choose between the safe path and the path that leads to true fulfillment. Today, this idea of actively shaping our own destiny is more important than ever. We live in a world where external pressures can easily distract us from our true purpose. Social media, societal expectations, and even well-meaning friends and family can push us in directions that don't align with our deepest desires. But Santiago's journey teaches us that the only path worth following is the one that leads to our personal legend. So how do we apply this? First, we must recognize when we are living according to the expectations of others rather than our own dreams. This requires deep self-reflection and the courage to ask ourselves, am I living the life I want or the life others expect of me? Santiago's story reminds us that it's never too late to change course. Just as he leaves the crystal shop to continue his quest, we too can make the decision to pursue our true calling, no matter where we are in life. Second, we must be willing to let go of relationships, situations, or habits that no longer serve our personal legend. Santiago's love for Fatima teaches us that true love will never stand in the way of our dreams. In today's world, this might mean letting go of relationships that hold us back or stepping out of comfort zones that limit our potential. It's about prioritizing what truly matters: our growth, our purpose, and our fulfillment. Finally, we must take responsibility for our own journey. In The Alchemist, Santiago is the sole author of his story. He makes choices that lead him closer to his treasure, and he owns those choices, whether they lead to success or failure. Today, this means taking full ownership of our lives and recognizing that we have the power to shape our destiny. No one else can do it for us. The courage to follow our own path, despite the pressures around us, is the key to living a life of true fulfillment. Chapter 6: Success and True Fulfillment Today. At the heart of The Alchemist is the concept of success, but not in the way we often understand it today. Santiago's journey teaches us that success is not about material wealth or societal validation. It's about inner peace, self-discovery, and alignment with one's personal legend. This is a powerful message for today, where success is frequently measured by external factors: how much money we make, how many followers we have, or how far we've climbed on the corporate ladder. Santiago's story reminds us that these markers of success can often lead to hollow victories if they aren't aligned with our true purpose. In the book, Santiago starts his journey in search of a treasure, something tangible, something he believes will bring him wealth and happiness. But as he travels, he begins to realize that the true treasure lies not in gold or riches, but in the wisdom he gains along the way. By the end of his journey, Santiago discovers that the physical treasure he sought was, in fact, buried near the tree where his journey began. This moment is a profound metaphor for the idea that the greatest treasures are often found within, and that the journey itself is more valuable than any external reward. In today's world, this lesson couldn't be more relevant. We live in a society where success is often defined by how much we achieve, how fast we achieve it, and how many people notice our achievements. Social media, in particular, has created a culture of constant comparison, where we feel pressured to show our success through carefully curated images and status updates. The pressure to achieve more, to be more, to constantly reach for the next big thing can leave us feeling empty, even when we seem successful on the surface. Santiago's journey teaches us that true success is deeply personal. It's not about following someone else's definition of success. It's about aligning with your own purpose and finding peace in the pursuit of your personal legend. In The Alchemist, Santiago learns that the treasure he seeks is not just a physical object, but a symbol of his own growth, his own understanding of the world, and his own inner fulfillment. Today, this is a powerful reminder that the real success we seek is not something we can show off to others. It's something we feel within ourselves. One of the most striking moments in the book is when Santiago meets the alchemist, who helps him understand that the journey to personal fulfillment is not about the destination, but about the process of becoming. The alchemist teaches Santiago that the practice of turning metal into gold, known as the masterwork, is not just about producing wealth, but about personal transformation. The gold is a symbol of the inner transformation that occurs when one pursues their personal legend with dedication and faith. This mirrors the idea that success is not about the accumulation of material wealth, but about the person you become in the process of pursuing your dreams. Today, this lesson feels especially relevant as many of us strive for quick success, immediate gratification, and outward recognition. Santiago's story reminds us that true fulfillment comes from the slow and steady process of becoming our truest selves. The alchemist's lesson is clear. It's not the gold that matters, it's the mastery of one's own life. Another key moment that reflects this idea is when Santiago realizes that his journey was necessary for him to discover the treasure within himself. If Santiago had simply found the treasure at the beginning of his journey, he would not have gained the wisdom, the strength, or the inner peace that he discovers through his adventures. This teaches us that success is not something that can be rushed. In today's world, where instant success stories dominate the media, it's easy to feel impatient or discouraged when we don't achieve our goals right away. But the Alchemist reminds us that the greatest rewards come through patience, perseverance, and personal growth. One of the modern parallels to this lesson is the culture of burnout that many people experience today. The constant drive to achieve, to be productive, to hustle, can leave us feeling exhausted and unfulfilled. Santiago's journey teaches us that success is not about how much we do or how fast we do it. It's about how aligned we are with our true purpose. The treasure Santiago finds is not just about the wealth he gains, but about the person he has become through the process of seeking it. This is a powerful reminder for all of us today. True success is not about outward achievement, but about inner fulfillment. In The Alchemist, Coelho introduces the idea of the soul of the world, a force that connects all things and that helps guide us toward our personal legend. Santiago learns that when he is aligned with his true purpose, the universe conspires to help him achieve his goals. This idea reflects a deep spiritual truth, that success is not just about our individual efforts, but about being in harmony with the world around us. In modern terms, this might mean recognizing the importance of balance, balancing our personal goals with our relationships, our well-being, and the world we live in. Today, we often feel disconnected from this idea of harmony. The fast-paced nature of modern life can make it difficult to feel connected to ourselves, let alone to a larger sense of purpose. But Santiago's journey teaches us that true fulfillment comes when we are in sync with the world around us. This might mean taking the time to slow down, to listen to our intuition, and to trust that the universe will guide us if we are aligned with our purpose. So, how do we apply these lessons today? First, we must redefine what success means to us. Santiago's story reminds us that success is not about achieving external goals or accumulating wealth. It's about living a life that is aligned with our deepest values and desires. In a world that often prioritizes material success over inner fulfillment, this is a crucial reminder. We must take the time to reflect on what truly matters to us, and measure our success not by the standards of others, but by how closely we are living in alignment with our own personal legend. Second, we must embrace the idea that the journey is just as important as the destination. Santiago's story teaches us that the process of pursuing our dreams is where true growth happens. In today's world, where we are often focused on quick results and instant gratification, this is a powerful lesson. Success is not something that happens overnight. It's the result of dedication, patience, and personal transformation. Finally, we must remember that true fulfillment comes from within. The treasure Santiago finds is not just a physical reward, it's the wisdom, the peace, and the sense of purpose he gains through his journey. Today, we must prioritize our inner growth and well-being over external validation. Santiago's journey reminds us that the most important treasures are the ones we find within ourselves. Chapter 7. Applying the lessons of the Alchemist today. What is your personal legend, and are you brave enough to pursue it? As Santiago's journey in The Alchemist comes to an end, he realizes that the treasure he was seeking was not just a physical reward, it was the transformation he underwent throughout his quest. His personal legend wasn't merely about finding gold at the foot of the pyramids. It was about understanding his place in the world, learning to listen to his heart, and discovering the deeper connections that bind everything together. This revelation is central to the book's enduring power as it speaks to the universal human experience of searching for meaning and purpose. Today, this quest for meaning is more relevant than ever. We live in an age of unprecedented opportunities and challenges, where the pressure to succeed and fit into societal molds can often distract us from our true desires. The lessons from The Alchemist remind us that the most important journey we can embark on is the one that leads us to our own personal legend, a journey that requires faith, courage, and perseverance. But how do we apply these lessons in a world that is more complex and more connected than ever before? Defining your own personal legend. The first step to applying the lessons of The Alchemist is to define your own personal legend. In the book, Santiago learns that everyone has a unique purpose in life, a legend that they are meant to fulfill. This is not something that society can dictate or that others can define for us. It is something that we must discover for ourselves. Today, this might mean taking a step back from the expectations of others, from the noise of social media, and from the pressures of modern life to ask yourself, what do I truly want? What is the treasure I am seeking? Santiago's journey teaches us that this process of self-discovery is ongoing. It's not always clear from the beginning what our personal legend is, but as we take steps in the direction of our dreams, we start to uncover it. In the modern era, where so many people are living according to external standards of success, it's more important than ever to take the time to reflect on what truly matters to you. In practical terms, this might mean journaling, meditating, or spending time in nature, anything that helps you connect with your inner voice. It might also mean trying new things, exploring different paths, and being open to the signs and omens that guide you, just as Santiago was throughout his journey. Overcoming fear and doubt. As we've seen throughout Santiago's journey, fear is one of the biggest obstacles to fulfilling one's personal legend. In the book, Santiago encounters numerous moments where he is tempted to turn back, to give up on his dream, or to settle for a safer, more predictable life. But each time he chooses to move forward, trusting that the universe will guide him. Today, fear is perhaps even more pervasive. The fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of not measuring up to societal standards can paralyze us and keep us from pursuing our true purpose. One of the most important lessons from The Alchemist is that fear is a natural part of the journey, but it should never be the reason we stop. Santiago learns that the fear of suffering is often worse than the suffering itself, and that every obstacle he faces is an opportunity for growth. To apply this in the current age, we must recognize our fears, but not let them control us. Whether it's the fear of changing careers, starting a new relationship, or simply stepping out of our comfort zone, The Alchemist teaches us that we can only grow by facing these fears head-on. And in a world that often values certainty and security, having the courage to take risks is more important than ever. Listening to your heart amid the noise. One of the most enduring messages of The Alchemist is the importance of listening to your heart. Santiago learns that the heart is a powerful guide, but it can also be full of fear and doubt. The Alchemist teaches him that while the heart may be afraid of suffering, it will always lead him in the right direction if he learns to listen. In the current climate, with the constant distractions of modern technology and the pressure to conform to societal norms, listening to our hearts has become more challenging. We are constantly bombarded with information, opinions, and comparisons that make it difficult to hear our inner voice. But The Alchemist reminds us that true wisdom comes from within, and that the answers we seek are often already inside us. To apply this lesson today, we must create space in our lives for stillness and reflection. Whether it's through meditation, spending time in nature, or simply disconnecting from technology for a while, Finding moments of quiet allows us to reconnect with our true desires. Santiago's journey teaches us that the heart speaks in whispers, not shouts, and it's in those quiet moments that we can hear it most clearly. Trusting the journey, not just the destination. Perhaps one of the most profound lessons from The Alchemist is that the journey itself is the treasure. Santiago starts his quest believing that the treasure is a physical object buried near the pyramids, but by the end, he realizes that the true treasure was the wisdom, growth, and self-understanding he gained along the way. Today, we live in a results-oriented world where success is often measured by how quickly we reach our goals. But Santiago's story reminds us that the journey is just as important as the destination. The setbacks, challenges, and detours we encounter are not failures. They are essential parts of the process that help us grow. To apply this lesson today, we must shift our focus from the end goal to the process itself. Whether it's pursuing a creative project, building a business, or working on personal development, The Alchemist teaches us to find joy in the journey. Success is not just about reaching the top of the mountain, it's about who we become along the way. Embracing the power of love and community. One of the more subtle but important lessons in The Alchemist is the role of love and community in fulfilling one's personal legend. Santiago's love for Fatima and the relationships he builds along his journey are central to his growth. The Alchemist teaches him that love should not hold him back from his dreams, but should instead support him in pursuing them. In our current reality, relationships and community are more important than ever. While it's easy to feel isolated in a fast-paced digital world, The Alchemist reminds us that we are not meant to pursue our dreams alone. Whether it's through friendships, mentors, or romantic relationships, the support of others can help us stay true to our path. To apply this lesson today, we must seek out relationships that uplift and inspire us. Surrounding ourselves with people who believe in our dreams and who encourage us to keep going, even when things get tough, is crucial. Santiago's journey reminds us that while the pursuit of our personal legend is a deeply personal one, it's also one that is enriched by the love and support of others. The timeless relevance of The Alchemist today. As we reflect on the lessons of The Alchemist in the context of today's world, it's clear that Paulo Coelho's timeless wisdom still holds great relevance. Santiago's journey is not just a story about finding treasure. It's a story about finding oneself, about learning to trust the universe, and about having the courage to pursue one's own path, even when the way is uncertain. In a world that is often chaotic, fast-paced, and full of distractions, The Alchemist reminds us to slow down, to listen to our hearts, and to have faith in the process. It teaches us that true success is not about external validation, but about inner fulfillment. And most importantly, it encourages us to embrace the journey, knowing that the greatest treasures are often found within. So as we move forward today, let us take Santiago's lessons to heart. Let us pursue our personal legends with courage, faith, and resilience. Let us listen to our hearts, trust the journey, and know that no matter where the path leads, we are exactly where we are meant to be. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Santiago's inspiring quest for meaning. May his story remind you that the answers we seek are often within, waiting for us to listen. If you found inspiration here, don't forget to subscribe to Heroes' Journeys for more adventures that touch the soul and awaken the hero within. Until next time, keep searching, keep dreaming, and may you find your own treasure along the way.